Good day, good day. Now, I want to show you something that's really so easy to understand, but yet so vital. And this comes off of the page, Human Computer Interaction. I'm always surprised at how many people I meet in technology that do not get this information. They don't ever apply it. And that's because in a large way, they don't actually have to in their job. But in order to really do their job properly, they should. They should be looking at it. So they talk about user design, which is often called UI or user interface design. But there's some questions down here I wanted you to focus on and see. Whatever you end up doing out there, you may end up in, well, you will end up in a situation where you are helping somebody, where you are providing information on what they ought to do because you're the tech expert and they're not, and they're trusting you to provide that for them. So you really have to think about these questions. Why is this person using a computer? What motivates them and what do they value? So when we talk about social theories in 100, this comes down to it, right? For example, why do people use word processors? They're easier. I don't have to, you guys don't know, right? Because you don't have to use typewriters anymore. But there's no whiteout. There's no, oh, geez, I screwed up that whole paragraph and I want to redo it. Piece of cake in a word processor, not easy on a typewriter, right? What do people want to do with a computer? What functionality and features do they need or want? Now, how does this really fit in with what I mentioned? Somebody comes to you and says, you know, I really need to look at a new computer and I'm considering a Mac computer or a Windows computer. I'm very fluent with Windows, but I've heard some great things about these Macs, like they're running those machines for 12 years, and that appeals to me. I hear they're easy to use, but I've kind of looked at them and they are different. I don't know what to do. Please help. Right now, a typical tech person would say, well, I hate those Macs because, and they won't say the because, but they'll say, oh, I hate those Macs. Don't get one of those. And most likely that's because the tech person hasn't ever used a Mac. They don't know how they work. I just blatantly tell people that now when they go, oh, I hate Macs. It's like, that's because you don't know how to use them. You know, I've gotten to that age where I've heard it so many times. I'm like, you know what? If you hate Linux, it's because you don't know how to use Linux. If you hate Windows, it's because you don't know how to use Windows. Unless you can give me a real example of why, like specifically, this does this stupidly, then I respect that. Otherwise, it's you don't really know. That's what most tech people would look at. What you should do is go, well, what are you doing? You know, what do you mainly use your computer for? And that takes some digging. You can't just ask that question. They'll tell you a couple things and that's all they'll tell you. And you're like, really, that's all you do? No, it's not all they do. You may have to sit down at their computer and go, oh, how often do you do this? I see you have a program for that. Oh, yeah, I do that all the time, you know, because they don't think about what it is that they do. So how are they using it? What do they expect it to do? What are the functions that are available to them? So when you look at this, this is a very general information of what is society doing, but this information really helps you when you're helping other people out. And of course, you may be in the position someday where you are helping decide technology, not necessarily a computer, but you're helping decide some new data system. And this comes into play, really comes into play. Well, what are we using the old data system for? How important are the things that we're doing? This feature only got used like, you know, maybe once every 6 months. How vital is that? Do we need to spend time on that? See, this kind of thought process that they're showing you here comes into everything you do. That's why it's so important, right? If somebody's using a computer all the time and you start talking to them about their phone and you realize, wow, they're actually doing a ton of computing on their phone. Maybe they need a notebook, maybe they need a tablet, maybe they need something more mobile, and that would increase their productivity. That's what all this information helps you to do. Now, principles for measuring it, right? So this goes back to those social theories. I had the social theories in there before they put this in. I want you to know that. Usability. How usable is it for the task that they want? You might be able to perform the task, but it's actually really hard. Is it effective? Refers to the percentage of the goal the computer is able to achieve. Is it effective in what they're doing? Again, mobile can come into play on that. Oh yeah, my computer can do everything, but it's over there in the corner and I can't ever take it out of the corner. And so it's not as effective as it could have been. Efficiency, how much time does it take to actually complete that task? I remember when people first started using 2 monitors. I got a 2 monitor setup here. At work, I have a 3 monitor setup. And at first, people were, oh, that's such an expensive thing. That's such a waste of money. That's what IT departments said about the situation. And of course, finally, research started to show that actually having 2 screens is very beneficial. It's cheaper than having a one big large screen. If you're into gaming, you know that. So when we look at it, it's making them more effective. The value of that monitor that only costs $100 to add to that system goes way up, because then the person can not go, oh, wait, let me switch to what is not on my screen and get over there and do that. Let me copy that. Now let's switch back over to this that's not on my screen, and let me paste that. Now let me switch back over to the thing that's not on my screen, right? All of this back and forth. When you have 2 monitors, it's much easier to do. That's an efficiency example. And then satisfaction is how happy are they actually with it? How it's functioning, how is it usable? All these others deal with creating that satisfaction. So those are the principles of measuring human interaction with the computer, and they really are vital and super, super helpful. So spend some time learning it. It's not something that is going to be difficult for you to learn, but will benefit your life and benefit other people's lives tremendously, greatly.